Well, today we're going to take a look at the Sabal Miner, and I'm going to tell you how to grow this palm and give you some information about it. And here's one of our regular size Sabal Miners. These usually get 3 to 5 feet. This is what I call a normal size Sabal Miner. And these palms are one of the most cold hardy palms you can grow. You can grow these palms in zones 6 through 8, and we'll talk about that in a little while. But this is one of our palms that went unprotected through a -6 degrees Fahrenheit in this last winter, and the year before it went through a -1, and this palm just has a little bit of damage. Our Sabal Miners that were unprotected went from anywhere through mildly damaged. Some of them had about, the worst ones had about 50% damage in -6, through a couple of them up here that have very little damage. This one has some damage to the older fronds and a little bit to the spear here, but is in pretty good shape. And first we'll talk about the cold hardiness of this palm. We've got quite a few birds here this morning. But these palms, a lot of them will start taking very small damage, little spotted damage, if they're out in the open at around 5 degrees. And they're pretty hardy through about 0 degrees Fahrenheit. And that's kind of the range where you'll start getting some damage to most of the Sabal Miner palms. And what really sets them apart, what really makes them really cold hardy and really hard to kill, is that the what we call the heart of the palm, that's where the spear originates, is below ground. And anywhere where you're growing a palm, the ground is like a large heater. Like here, when we had a -6 Fahrenheit, the ground, the coldest only got to about 23 degrees, I believe it was. You can look it up on online in some of these ground temperature places. And so that means that to kill this palm, you're probably going to have to get down ground temperatures of, I'm guessing, 10 degrees or less. And that's going to be have to be really cold for a really long time. It just depends on how much snow cover you have. That's going to help insulate the ground, that sort of thing. But anyway, the point is that it's going to be hard to completely kill this palm if you have an established large Sabal Miner like this one here. Zone, when we talk about zones, I'd rather just talk about temperatures. So if you get below, if you're really picky and you have a smaller palm, you get below 5 degrees, you're going to want to try to cover it with some leaves or mulch or that sort of thing. And if you get a larger palm like this, you're going to start taking some damage when it gets below 0. So that's kind of your ranges where you need to be concerned if you want to do anything. If you're not getting below 0 every year, then the palm will regrow. But if you kill off a lot of the palm and have to regrow the fronds every year, it's not a good thing if you're going below 0 every year. So you'd want to protect the palm in that cases. But anyway, next we'll talk a little bit about where you want to plant these palms. And these palms are best if you're north of Atlanta or that sort of thing. You're going to want to plant these in full sun. It's the best thing. You know, you can plant them in shade, and that's fine. But in full sun, you're going to get the biggest, fullest plant for these. That's the recommendation. They'll take either dry conditions or wet, but they're going to grow best with some water, like most plants. So well watered is the recommendation. Most of these palms are going to grow, average sable minor is going to grow about 3 fronds per year when it gets established. So they're not a super fast grower, but they do make a very good palm. What we like to call this palm is a foundation palm for your cold hardy garden, because this palm is going to stick around and not die on you very easy in zone 6 through 8. So there's a good look at one of our palms, and we'll look at some of the other ones here and talk some more about this sable minor palm. And in all fairness, here's our worst damaged sable minor that we had. This is one of our regular ones, and for some reason out here a little bit farther out in the yard it gets really damaged. This was after -6 and completely unprotected, but you can see this one is damaged a little worse than all the others. And I don't know, for some reason they're just all a little bit different depending on where they're at in the yard and that sort of thing. But I just wanted to give you a fair look at what the worst damaged sable minor we have is after -6. So that gets you an idea. You can see the spear and everything down here is a little hurt as well. So this will take till the end of the year to get back looking well. So best if you're in a colder zone to have these things up close to your house on the southern side, and that sort of thing is the best option for you. As we take a look at this palm here, we're going to take a look at a map of the somebody put online here of the adaptable range of the sable minor. The sable minor is the largest distributed of the sable species here in the United States, and it's obviously because it's one of the most cold hardy palms that there is. The only thing that's a little cold hardier, the needle palms are more leaf hardy than the sable minor. But the sable minor tends to do spear pull and that sort of thing less than others. But here, if you look, you see our map. You see the adaptable range. You can see that these palms can be grown all the way up into Kentucky and quite a few different states in the south, and has a pretty big range. This is not the native natural range, but it's quite a bit less than that. But this is where you should be able to grow these sable minor palms. And you know, in other places even colder than these areas, if you protect them in the winters when you get below 0 or 5 degrees, depending on how picky you want to be, then you can grow them in other places. Or if you use your microclimate like this and put it up by your south side of your house, then that's going to help a lot. And you always want to get these established and big, and they'll be able to take temperatures a little bit better for you. But that gives you an idea of where these can be grown in the United States. And we'll see. We'll go on here to the next thing. And when we talk about a sable minor, there's different sizes of these palms. This one's kind of a rare one. This is a Blountstown dwarf. The sable minors are called a dwarf palmetto, but dwarf palmetto is just kind of the common name for the sable minors because it's in the sable family, and it's a lot of them are in Florida, so it's not to be confused with a sable palmetto. So the real name for it is a sable minor, and in the sable minor family, this is a dwarf sable minor. And so just so you can see how small this is, I thought I'd get beside this one. This is a fully grown dwarf sable minor, and you can see the fronds there. And so that's one of the smallest sizes that you'll see. And the one we looked at earlier is kind of a regular size, and we'll go and look at one of the couple of the larger ones that we have here on the property. Of course, sable miners, the big ones can get 7, 8, 9, 10 feet tall. But anyway, let's go and we'll take a look at some more of them. And here's one of the larger normal sable miners that we have on the property. And this one has been growing here. It was put out at a fairly small size in 2018. So that shows you how it can grow in a few years. And this particular one, after the -6, it's got quite a bit of spotting here on it. You know, they all do a little bit different, but all our palms here, the sable miners, were unprotected, except for Louisiana. I'll show you here in a little bit. But these palms do really good in a tropical garden setting if you plant them alongside some other bigger palms like your Trachycarpus, and you can put them 2 or 3 feet out from your Trachycarpus, and they make a good foundation there, so that if you are protecting a larger palm, it gives you kind of a base, because when you're doing your tropical garden, you kind of want to have some lower plants, which is going to be your sable miner, and some of your taller plants, which is going to be something like, in our case, Trachycarpus fortunei. But there's a look at one of the larger sable miners that we have, and like I said, they can get pretty big. They can get a palm like this over a long period of time, might get 7, 8, 9 feet or more. So we'll just have to see. But we'll take a look next at our larger palm. And here's the largest sable miner we have. This is still a sable miner, but it's the variety is called a Louisiana, which these particular palms grow faster than the normal sable miners. This particular one grows about 6 fronds a year, which means basically that it's going to grow about twice as fast as the normal sable miners. And this palm was put out about the same size as the other sable miner you saw just in our previous section there. And you can see that it's quite a bit larger. And these will eventually form a little trunk over time, and all the sable miners can form a little bit of a trunk, but this one is more pronounced. And this particular one for us is not quite as cold hardy, and this one was protected this year, and it still has a little bit of damage even with our protection. But this particular one for us starts getting pretty damaged at about 5 degrees instead of at about the other ones start really getting damaged at 0. But that gives you a little idea of the different sizes of the sable miners that you can have. And